Yay. Beautiful. Hi, everyone. Happy Hump Day. It's been a while since we've seen each other for Yoga for Change, but guess what? Black lives still matter. Thanks for being here. If you're just hopping on, if you're just kind of scrolling through Instagram and you're like, what the hell is this? Hi, welcome. This is Yoga for Change. So we're doing a 45-minute all-level vinyasa flow class. And I actually promise when I say all levels, it is beginner friendly. And so 100% of these donations will be going to the Autistic People of Color Fund. And that fund is for the community reparations for autistic people of colors, interdependence, survival, and empowerment. So something that's really close to my heart, especially being on the spectrum. When being on the spectrum, it's different. Not one person who's autistic is the same. So that's something that I think should be talked about, and uniqueness and differences are something that should be celebrated and understood. And we should have compassion and empathy just like we do for ourselves on our mats. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to my rumble and my kind of talk on. But hi, welcome. We're gonna go ahead and get started today. And just a reminder, as we move through this flow, this is your practice. This is the time that you've set out for yourself, for the Autistic People of Color Fund, and just honor your body and honor your breath. If I ever cue anything that does not feel good to your body, please remember to honor your breath and honor your body throughout this practice. So we're gonna go ahead and get started today. We're actually gonna get started in an easy seat, or you can come into Baddha Konasana, which is butterfly pose. And in this butterfly pose, just allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. And allow the chest to rise up nice and high. Think proud chest here. Shut the eyes down. And if you're not really sure what to do with your hands, and if your mind was a little bit chaotic today, maybe you place them on top of the earth or the knees for more of a grounding practice. If you're ready to receive all this beautiful energy we're about to create with one another, plant the palms facing the ceiling. If you're looking for an introspective practice, place one palm on the heart center and the other palm underneath that low belly. Feeling that prana, that life force, that breath inside of you. And if your hips are already starting to talk to you here, maybe you pull the feet away from the body. If you're looking for a little bit more, maybe you pull the heels closer to the perineum. And just shut the eyes down here. Start to bring awareness to your breath. And what does that mean when a yoga teacher says, bring your awareness to your breath? It means just take note. Take note of your breath and notice how it allows your belly to rise and fall. I invite you to get rid of that mental to-do list you have swarming around in your head. And just bring your awareness to your breath. Consciously breathing in the moment helps us come to present. Maybe you start to find an Ujjayi pranayama, which is creating that slight constriction in the back of your throat. Start to blink the eyes open here, a slight gaze towards the nose. We bring the palms on the outside of the body. Inhale, root to rise, reach all the way up, root down from the tailbone, send the gaze towards the palms. Take a full inhale here. Exhale, release the right palm or the right forearm onto the mat and start to bend over towards this right side. Can you spiral your chest towards the ceiling? Take a full inhale here. Exhale, maybe you allow yourself to move a little bit more over to the right here. Finding that expansion through this left lung, take one more breath. Exhale, release the left palm or left forearm onto the earth. Start to reach over towards the left side. Spiral your chest towards the ceiling. Take a full breath in. Exhale, maybe you start to sink a little bit deeper, keeping that spiraled chest towards the ceiling. One more breath. Rising back up through center, starting to roll the neck down towards the chest. So we're just getting any of those cracks and crinkles out of the neck, starting with semicircles. Chest is down towards the chin. And if it feels good, maybe you switch that direction to counterclockwise. Your palms can be anywhere here. And I know your hips are probably talking to you through this there. Can you breathe through the uncomfortability here? Invite the shoulders into the party. We start to roll backwards. And then forwards. Inhale, root to rise, root down from the tailbone, explode through the chest, and the gaze towards the thumbs. Exhale, can you plant the palms in front of you? Press into the earth while sending your gaze towards the navel. So we're simultaneously pressing the earth away from us while pushing our tailbone into the mat. Take a full breath. Exhale, start to release. Bring the palms in front of you and come into a tabletop pose. Now in this tabletop pose, our wrists are directly underneath the shoulder blades. Knees are about hips width distance apart underneath the hips. Untuck those toes. Start to drop the belly low through the inhale. Bolster your heart towards the stars. Cow pose. Exhale, press into the palms, round the spine. Start to send the gaze towards the navel. Cat pose. Inhale, drop the belly low. Press the chest through the shoulders. Gaze is high. Exhale, round the spine, press into the earth, gaze is towards the navel. 2 more rounds of cat-cows here, moving on your own breath and on your own speed. Through the exhale, press into the palms, round the spine. Last one, coming back through center, checking in with our alignment, wrists directly underneath the shoulder blades, knees are underneath the hips. Tuck those toes. Start to rise 2.5 inches off the earth, lifted tabletop, hold here. And in this lifted tabletop pose, really press those palms into the mat to feel those shoulders protract. Your navel is in towards the spine. Your gaze is towards the in-between of those palms. Just check in with those knees. Make sure they are in fact still lifted. If you'd like to drop down to those knees to take a break, no worries. If you're with me, let's run through one cat-cow with lifted knees. Drop the belly low, start to bolster your heart high. Exhale, press into the palms, try not to move those knees, gazes towards the navel. Back through center, if you've dropped down on those knees, come right back up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Let that breath go here through this down dog. We're creating an inverted V shape with our bodies, creating an L shape with our index finger and our thumb, pressing down through the base knuckle of the index finger and the thumb, and sending the gaze towards the toes. Let your neck elongate. From here, can you wrap the triceps around, take a full inhale, and maybe if you suffer for some low back pain, micro bend those knees. Take a full inhale here. Exhale, release. Let that breath go. Start to shake the head, yes. And maybe you shake the head, no. And then maybe more, yes. Come back through stillness. Send the gaze in between the palms. We walk, step, jump, hop, or float to the top of our mat. Inhale, halfway lift out of the Uttanasana. Pull those shoulders to tuck towards the back wall and micro bend those knees. Just like you're trying to rip your mat in two, can you start to press into the outer portion of those feet? Palms come behind the neck here. Find your balance. Find that flat back. Keep pressing into those feet as if you're trying to rip your mat in two. Feel those outer glutes start to fire. One more full breath. Exhale, release down, forward fold. Inhale, root down from the feet. Start to rise up, exploding through the chest and through the fingertips here. Gaze is in between the palms. Take a full inhale. Exhale, swan dive. Start to lead with the chest, hinge at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Pull the shoulders back, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms. Start to move into your high plank. Now in this high plank, just like that lifted tabletop, I want you to feel your strength. Press those palms into your mat to feel those shoulders slightly protract. Gaze is in between the palms here. Heels are stacked above the toes. Let's give that right palm a little break. Start to come onto this left hand. Bring the right palm on top of this left shoulder. But can you do me a favor and square those hips off? Take a full breath. Exhale, release to this right palm. Always can drop down to the knees here. Let's give that left palm a break. Left palm comes on top of the right shoulder. Take a moment here. Can you press into this right palm to square that hip off? Inhale. Exhale, palms come down, drop down to the knees. Tuck the elbows in towards the ribs. Knees, chest, chin for our first vinyasa. Send the gaze slither through. Low cobra, Bhujangasana. In this low cobra, can you bring the feet together to touch at the back of your mat? Palms come underneath the ribs here. Inhale, start to lift the chest, lift the chin, micro bend the chin here now. So send the elbows to magnetize towards one another and start to feel that back body turn on. Press into the top portion of the feet, the shoelace portion of that shoe. Take a full inhale. Exhale, maybe you start to lift the palms off the earth. Feel that back body turn on. Option to stay here. Tuck the toes, rise on back, downward facing dog. Create this inverted V shape here. Start to generously bend in both knees. Get groovy through this down dog. Start to walk that doggy dog out. And as you walk that dog out, start to walk the palms closer towards the body. So we're reaching for this right ankle here with our left palm. And if you have to shorten that down dog, there's no shame in your game. We're going to find a twist. Grab onto this right ankle. Start to press into this right palm. Start to send your gaze beyond the right armpit. Can you use this right palm as a tool to twist you even deeper? Take a full breath here. Exhale, allow the body to twist even more, letting that breath go. Left palm comes to meet the right, opposite side. Right palm reaches for that left ankle. Remember, if you have to shorten that down dog, no shame in your game. Press into this left palm. Start to send the gaze beyond the left armpit. Use this left palm as a tool to twist you even deeper. One more breath. Release that palm to meet the left. Send the gaze in between the palms and walk the palms out to your high plank. Can you tuck those elbows in towards the ribs? Chaturanga Dandasana, lower down. Upward facing dog this time. Pull the chest through. Squeeze those thighs together. They're lifted off the earth. Can you press those palms into the mat to send the shoulders away from the ears? Take a full breath. Exhale, start to send the gaze beyond the right toes. And then release through center. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs, lift those thighs off the earth. Exhale, start to send the gaze beyond the left toes. Drop down to those thighs, start to make your way back into downward facing dog. From this downward facing dog, take a full inhale, one breath to reset, both heels lift nice and high. Exhale, sink them deep into the mat. Gaze is towards the palms. We walk, step, jump, hop, or float. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, reach all the way up, explode through the chest and the fingertips here. Gaze is in between the palms. Exhale, swan dive, lead with the chest, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, high to low plank. You flow, you grow. If you'd like to drop down to your knees for your vinyasa, you're more than welcome. Or you can tuck those elbows in towards the ribs, lower down. Upward facing dog, pull the chest through. Exhale, downward facing dog. One last sun A to complete this warm up. Let's take a breath to reset first. Both heels lift high to the sky through this down dog. Exhale, can you sink them a little bit deeper towards the earth? Gaze is in between the palms. We walk, step, jump, hop, or float. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Root to rise, reach all the way up. Listen for the change. We're grabbing for our left wrist here. Can you start to ground down through the heels, move over towards the right side, spiral your chest towards the ceiling. Take a full breath in. Exhale, maybe you sink a little bit deeper. Inhale, rise through center. Exhale, grab the right wrist, start to move over towards the left side. Spiral your chest towards the ceiling, take a full inhale. Exhale, maybe that breath allows you to sink a little bit deeper. Inhale through center. Exhale, swan dive, lead with the chest, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms high to low. You flow, you grow. Tuck those elbows in towards the ribs, lower down. Upward facing dog, pull the chest through. Exhale, downward facing dog. Both feet come together to touch at the back of your mat. Right heel lifts nice and high. Option to point your toe for some finesse. Or maybe you take a more traditional stance, sending that right toe to square off the hip towards the mat. Bending into this right knee, starting to create those big, juicy hip circles, first moving clockwise. And then if it feels good, switch the direction to counterclockwise. Inhale, three-legged dog, right heel high to the sky. Exhale, right knee to nose, round the spine, crunch it in. Can you give that knee a kiss? Three-legged dog. Right knee to right elbow, make a connection, hold. Three-legged dog. Right knee to left elbow, cross-body hold. Feel those obliques start to turn on. Back to three-legged dog. Right knee to nose, round the spine, crunch it in, plant that foot in between the palms. Left palm stays grounded, right palm starts to open up, easy twist. Take a full breath here. On the exhale, can you goalpost the arms, start to spiral your chest towards the ceiling? Feel that heart opener here. Exhale, release. Slow and controlled, grounding down into this left side. We're starting to distribute the weight over, finding Bashistасana side plank. Now options here, maybe you drop down to the knee to modify, or maybe you up level by lifting that top leg. Engage the core, keep pressing into the earth with this left palm to lift that right hip even higher. We're holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right palm comes down. Maybe that right foot stays lifted for a one-legged vinyasa. Tuck those elbows in towards the ribs. Upward facing dog, pull the chest through. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now this down dog is our resting pose here. So start to slow the breath down. Control the breath, control the mind. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs. Exhale, let something go. Make an audible sound here. One more time. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs. Exhale, let something go. Beautiful job. Feet come together to touch at the back of your mat. Zip up dog. Zip that navel right in towards the spine. Left heel this time comes nice and high. Option to point that toe, or option to take a traditional stance by squaring off the hip. Left toes come towards the earth. Bending into this left knee, starting to create those juicy hip circles. First moving clockwise, getting into the synovial fluid of this left hip. And maybe you switch the direction to counterclockwise. Inhale, three-legged dog, left leg high to the sky. Exhale, left knee to nose, round the spine, crunch it in. Can you give that knee a kiss? Three-legged dog. Left knee to left elbow, make a connection, hold. Three-legged dog. Left knee to right elbow, cross body hold. Feel those obliques start to turn on. Three-legged dog. Left knee to nose, round the spine, crunch it in, plant that left foot in between the palms. And if it doesn't plant there and you have to walk it forward, no worries, take your time. Right palm comes down. Left palm starts to open up towards the ceiling. Find your way in an easy twist here. Gazes towards the left fingertips. Take a full breath. Exhale, goalpost the arms. Start to spiral your chest towards the ceiling. Feel that heart opener. Back through center. Slow and controlled, starting to bring the weight onto this right side, finding Vashisthasana side plank. Option to drop down to the knee, or option to up level by lifting that top leg. Maybe you grab hold of the toes here. Wherever you are, press into this right palm to let that hip lift even higher for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow and controlled, release that foot all the way down. High to low plank, tuck those elbows in towards the ribs, upward facing dog, pull the chest through. Exhale, bring the toes together to touch. And allow yourself to find a child's pose here. Come back to your breath. Maybe you towel off. Maybe you grab a sip of water. If Lana's watching, maybe you go to the fridge and grab a snack. Take a full breath here. Exhale, let go of something that no longer serves you. I read a beautiful quote about vinyasa saying that it's a perfect balance between discipline and surrender. So can we take this moment here to surrender our heart down? One more breath. Exhale, make your way into your downward facing dog. Start to move and groove through this down dog. Walk that doggy dog out. And then come together at the back of your mat. Press evenly into both palms. Gazes towards the toes. Relax the neck. Right heel lifts nice and high. Point the toe or square off the hip. Bend into this right knee. Start to create those juicy circles again. First moving clockwise. And then switching the direction to counterclockwise. Can you inhale, lift the right heel, and then scorpion tail right heel towards left glute. If that right armpit shoots up towards the ceiling, can you take this moment to square it off towards your mat? Take a full breath. Reach those toes towards the opposite side, and then lift them back up, three-legged dog. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs. Exhale, knee to nose, round the spine, give that knee a kiss. Three-legged dog. Right knee to right elbow, make a connection, hold, slide that knee down to the wrist. And then shoot that leg right back up, three-legged dog. Right knee to left elbow, cross body hold. Three-legged dog. Right knee to nose, round the spine, crunch it in. We're planting our right foot in between the palms, pivoting that left foot to 45 degrees and starting to rise up. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. In this Warrior 1, we're creating a right angle with our right knee. Our back heel is pivoted to 45 degrees, which means if there was a laser coming out of my right heel, it should directly bisect my left foot. Squeeze those thighs together. Let the shoulders melt down. Control the breath, control the mind. Can you take a full inhale here? Exhale, pivot that left foot even more. Commit to the bend. Find Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. In this Warrior 2, allow the shoulders to melt away. Send the drishti or gaze towards the right fingertips here. Right knee is in line with the second toe. Take a full breath. Exhale, reach for something you desire. Reverse warrior. That left palm can come on top of this left leg, or you can find a mini bind behind you. Keep pressing into this right knee. Commit to that bend. Take a full breath. Exhale, straighten out the legs. Start to reach forward, hinge at the hips. Maybe you have to shorten your stance just a bit and find your way into Trikonasana triangle pose. Palm can come on either side of this right foot. Or maybe you press into the shin to lift the chest even higher, sending the gaze towards the left fingertips. Think of your body in 2 panes of glass. One more breath. Exhale, reverse Trikonasana. Cartwheel the palms to frame this right foot. And before you melt the heart down for pyramid pose, can you inhale, halfway lift? Creating space through the torso, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, start to release the chest down towards this right thigh. Gaze is towards the left toes here. This is our opportunity to get juicy through this right hamstring. So maybe this isn't enough for you and you need to move a little bit further. Maybe you want to play with a calf stretch here by lifting those right toes. Maybe you come with me to flamingo pose. For that, I shorten my stance just a bit to find a strong foundation. Palms can come behind me to face the back of the mat. I start to distribute the weight towards the right foot. Maybe the left toes start to tink off the earth, sending the left knee behind the right. And then gaze goes beyond the back of the mat. Take a full breath in whatever pyramid variation that you're in. And then exhale, release. Palms come to frame this right foot. Take a full breath here. Exhale, launch off into standing split. Start to send the left heel high towards the sky. Now in the standing split, maybe you take a micro bend to this right knee. Maybe you send the left toes towards the earth to square off the hips. This is a big move. Option to stay here, or option to bring the palms into heart center. We're gonna find a balancing pose here. So just balancing that body weight, micro bend in that right knee is the key to lift the chest high. Moving through Warrior 3 for just a quick second, and then Tadasana Mountain Pose, top of the mat. Allow the shoulders to come down away from the ears. Take a full breath. Exhale, release. Inhale, root to rise. Reach all the way up. Send the gaze in between the palms. Exhale, swan dive. Lead with the chest. Hinge at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms. High to low. You flow, you grow. Move through your vinyasa, high to low plank. Chaturanga check-in. Make sure you tuck those elbows into the ribs as you lower down. Upward facing dog. Pull the chest through. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 deep breaths in this down dog. One more breath. Through this next side, we're first going to find that twist again through the down dog. So again, if you have to shorten your down dog, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're any less of a yogi. Left palm reaches for that right ankle. We're using this right palm as a tool to press into the earth. Start to send your gaze, peek through that right armpit. Hello. Take a full breath here. Exhale, can you twist a little bit deeper? Release that left palm. Right palm reaches for the left ankle. Start to spiral your chest towards the ceiling. Find a twist. Really press into this left palm here. One more breath. Release that right palm to meet the left. Find yourself in your downward facing dog. Both feet come together to touch at the back of your mat. Left heel comes nice and high, 3-legged dog. Bending into this left knee, can you start to create those big juicy circles? First moving clockwise, rolling over through any cracks and crinkles that need extra love. And then left foot lifts nice and high. Scorpion tail, left heel towards right glute. If that left armpit shoots up towards the ceiling, take this opportunity to square it off towards the mat. Left heel comes nice and high, 3-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to nose, round the spine, crunch it in. Maybe that knee gets a kiss. 3-legged dog. Left knee to left elbow. Listen for the change. We're sliding that knee down towards the wrist and then shooting that leg back up, 3-legged dog. Left knee to right elbow, crossbody hold. Feel those obliques work. Three-legged dog. Left knee pulls in towards the nose, protract those shoulders, round the spine. Maybe that foot plants in between the palms. Right foot pivots to 45 degrees. We're rising up. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. In this Warrior 1, let's check in with our alignment, creating a right angle with that left knee. Back heel is pivoted to 45 degrees. Square those hips off. Squeeze those thighs together. Shoulders melt down. So we're grounding evenly into both feet so we can zip up through the pelvic floor. Take one more breath here. Exhale, release that right foot, pivot a little bit more, and then commit to the bend. Find your way into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. In this Warrior 2, shoulders melt down, drishti or gazes towards the left fingertips. Left knee is in line with the second left toe. Take one more breath. Exhale, reach for something you desire. Reverse warrior, commit to the bend in that left knee. Maybe that palm comes to melt down the leg. Maybe it comes behind you for a half bind. One more breath. Start to straighten out the legs, hinge at the hips, reaching forward, Trikonasana triangle pose. Now again, in this Trikonasana, if you have to shorten it up just a bit, that's fine. But think of your body in two panes of glass or as a piece of toast in a toaster. So if your tailbone is out, can you tuck that tailbone in? Send the gaze towards the right fingertips. Take a full breath here. Exhale, reverse Trikonasana, straighten the legs, reach behind you. Exhale, cartwheel the palms to frame this left foot. And before you melt the heart down, can you pivot the foot, maybe take a step forward? Inhale, lengthen through the spine, create space, and then start to melt the heart down. Gaze goes beyond the back of the mat towards the right toes. And a couple different options for this pyramid pose on this left side. So if this is enough and you're like, ooh, mama, calm down, stay here. If you want a little bit more, maybe through the calf, maybe you start to lift the left toes off the earth. If you want to move into flamingo pose on this left side, palms can come to face the back of the mat. We distribute the weight, starting to press into this left foot, and maybe the right toes start to tink off the earth. Right knee comes behind the left knee, gaze goes beyond the back of the mat, flamingo pose. Take a few breaths here. And even if you're in pyramid pose, can you melt down? What is your fullest expression of your pose? Remember, everyone's practice is a little bit different. Release that right foot. Bring the palms to frame this left foot. Right heel comes nice and high, standing split. Can you micro bend in this left knee and send the right toes towards the earth? We want to square off those hips. Palms start to come into heart center here. We're finding a balancing pose. Take your time. Press into the left foot. Start to lift up nice and high. Feel yourself shake. That means you're getting stronger. All the way up to Dasana mountain pose. Palms come into heart center here. Let's take a moment of gratitude for our capable beating hearts. Take a full breath in. Exhale, release. Control the breath, control the mind. One more full inhale. Exhale, release. Come down onto the mat. Start to lift the chest, expand through the fingertips here. Think jazz hands, gazes in between the palms. Exhale, swan dive, lead with the chest, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, high to low, you flow, you grow. If you're feeling extra spicy, maybe you add some extra chaturanga push-ups here. If not, maybe you find your upward facing dog, pull the chest through. Exhale, child's pose. If you'd like to take your child's pose wide, maybe you open up those knees even wider than the mat. Maybe you start to express, bringing the palms nice and wide, sending the chest towards the earth and maybe the chin as well. Or maybe you just pull back and send the crown towards the top of the mat. Start to breathe easy in this child's pose. One more inhale. Exhale, start to walk the palms towards the body. We're making our way into this modified tabletop pose. So maybe it's not a modified tabletop, maybe it's just a tabletop version, but it's on our forearms here. So we're creating a number 11 with our forearms and palms. Our knees are still hips width distance apart underneath the hips. And we're going to run through some cat-cows on our forearms here instead. So inhale. Drop the belly low, start to send the gaze high. Bolster your heart towards the stars. Exhale, press into the palms and forearms, round the spine, send the gaze towards the navel. Really feel your shoulders protract. Inhale, drop the belly low, send the gaze nice and high. Exhale, press into the palms, round the spine, gazes towards the navel. One more for good measure. Drop the belly low, really bolster your heart high. Exhale, round the spine. Think of your body as a wave. Come back onto your tabletop pose. We're just lifting up into that downward facing dog. We're going to start to cool down here and find our pigeon pose. So you can bring both feet together to touch at the back of your mat if you'd like. Right heel comes high to the sky. Right knee pulls in towards the right wrist. Right foot moves down towards the left wrist. Now, before you melt your heart down for pigeon pose, just take a look at your alignment. Is your left toe in line with your left hip? We want to square those hips off. And before you melt down, can you press into the palms, start to lift the chest? Again, we're creating space through that torso, growing nice and tall. Exhale, surrender down, sleeping pigeon. So getting nice and juicy through this right hip. Finding the comfortability in the uncomfortability of this pose. Maybe you start to think about your intention here. Maybe you start to think and sink a little bit deeper. Just like life, when things get tough and uncomfortable, can we find the flexibility to breathe through it? And not necessarily the flexibility within our bodies, but the flexibility within our minds. Can we go with the flow? And as things come our way, can we learn to dodge and weave and move and breathe? Take one more breath. Exhale, walk the palms close to the body, downward facing dog. Take whatever movement for this right hip that maybe your body is craving. Maybe some more knee circles, maybe a little doggy on a fire hydrant action, whatever feels good. And then come back to that downward facing dog. Bring both feet together to touch. Left heel comes nice and high, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee comes in towards the left wrist. Left foot comes in towards the right wrist. Start to lift and make sure those hips are squared, so right toe is in line with the right hip. Inhale, lift the chest. Create that space. Exhale, start to melt the chest forward. Pigeon pose. And I'm laughing because something got stuck in between my toes as I was coming through pigeon. And looking at it, it's a rice noodle. So, a rice noodle on my yoga mat sounds about right. Start to breathe here. Sometimes you just have to laugh at yourself and let that shit go. Can you allow your chest to sink even deeper? We hold a lot of emotion in our hips. So what can you choose to let go here? Maybe it's a person, place, or thought that poisons your well-being. Whatever it is, can you let that shit go right here, right now? Take one more breath. Exhale, release. Walking the palms toward the body, finding yourself in a downward facing dog with that leg lifted, taking whatever movement that feels good for this left hip. And then start to drop down to the knees, come onto the glutes. Make your way at the top of your mat. So at the top of your mat here, giving yourself a nice little squeeze. Keep that chest nice and proud. We're not going to get away with no core work today. We're going to bring the thighs together and make our way into Navasana boat pose, but we're going to come into it slow and controlled. So I'm just going to turn to the side so you have a better view. Start to pull the knees in towards the chest. Find that hang time on your tailbone. So my toes can lift right off the earth here and I'm balanced on my tailbone. But before I do that, lift the chest nice and proud. Maybe send the gaze a little bit higher than your line of vision. Start to squeeze the thighs together. Lift the shins off the earth. Maybe they come parallel to your mat. If this feels good, maybe you stay here. If you're with me, maybe you start to open up your palms. If that feels okay, maybe you start to squeeze the thighs together, extend in the legs, lift the chest even higher. Navasana high boat. Take a full breath. Exhale, release, low boat. Inhale, high boat. Exhale, low boat. Inhale, high boat. Exhale, low boat. Last one, inhale, high boat. Lift the chest, lift the chin, extend the legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop those heels down towards the earth. Scoot the glutes towards the heels. Grab onto the shins. We're going to run through a few cat-cows here. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the chin just to reset the spine. Exhale, round the spine. Hollow out the belly, gazes towards the navel. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the chin. Exhale, release. Bringing that imaginary beach ball out in front of you. And slow and controlled, a little bit more core work, and then we're done, I promise. Maybe you count all 33 vertebrae on the way down. You are stronger than you think. Trust your strength here. And if you start to shake, that means you're getting stronger. Maybe you count all 33 vertebrae on the way down. And when you're ready, releasing those shoulders onto the mat. Pulling both knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Start to create low back circles here. First moving clockwise. And then switching the direction to counterclockwise. Inhale, come back through center. Pull the left knee in towards the chest. Let that right foot drop down to the top of the mat. Supine twist, left knee comes cross body. Open up those palms to a T. Can you simultaneously ground both shoulder blades into the mat? Maybe that right palm comes on top of the left thigh. Maybe the gaze goes beyond the left fingertips. Think of this as lengthening the spine here. We're stretching out that spine, finding a much needed stretch. Keep pressing both shoulders into the mat. Then release through center. Pull the knees in towards the chest. Create those low back circles again. First moving clockwise. And then switching the direction. Right knee pulls into the chest. Left foot starts to drop down. Supine twist, right knee comes cross body. Open up those palms to a T. Press both shoulders into the mat. Maybe you send the gaze beyond the right fingertips. Maybe that left palm comes on top of this right thigh to help it move a little bit closer towards the opposite side. One more breath here. Exhale, coming back through center. Give yourself a final squeeze. And then finding any poses that maybe your body was craving that I did not call for today. So maybe you wanted that back bend. Maybe you wanted an inversion of your choice. Maybe you treat yourself to an early Shavasana. Taking up as much space as you need here. And if you usually don't stay for Shavasana, can you stay for this 1 minute of your time? Can you just allow yourself to be in this present moment, softening through the crown of the head, relaxing the space between the brows, uncrinkling the nose, relaxing the jaw, softening through the shoulders, the biceps, and the fingertips. Can you relax through the sternum, the ribs, the belly, and the hips? Can you soften through the thighs, unbuckle the knees, release the calves, all the way down to the toes? Take a full breath here. Shavasana. Starting to bring awareness back to the body. Can you wiggle your fingertips? Inviting life back into the toes, we give those a little wiggle. And as if you're waking up for the very first time, can you reach behind you for that good morning stretch? Exhale, pull the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a final squeeze. Thank yourself for showing up on your mat today for self-love, self-care, and most importantly, the Autistic People of Color Fund. Choosing either the right side or the left side to fall onto a fetal position using your bicep as a pillow. I love what this pose represents. A clean slate, a fresh start. Knowing that every single time we step off our mats is an opportunity for us to begin again. An opportunity for us to celebrate uniqueness and differences. An opportunity for us to live with compassion and empathy for the things and people around us that we're not sure of or not educated about. Plant the palms into the earth, rising up to a seated position, facing any which way your heart desires. Palms come to gather all the beautiful energy we've created together. Palms kiss to seal our intentions and down through heart center for gratitude. Remembering that in this time of chaos, gratitude helps us fall in love with the life that we already have. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through this quick 45-minute flow. The perfectly imperfect student in me bows, honors, and respects the teachers in all of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, beautiful yogis. Thanks for being here. Just a reminder, the donation links are in my Instagram bio through Venmo or PayPal. There's both of those up there. And 100% of these donations will be going to the Autistic People of Color Fund, 100%. And if you have any questions about anything we played with, please feel free to reach out, send me a DM, let's chat. Other than that, happy Wednesday. Thanks so much for showing some love and care to your body and to your community. Bye, everyone.